They had no army, no fancy weapons, and no reason to win. So how did a bunch of nobodies take down entire empires? History loves the underdog, but these stories, they're not just inspiring. They're insane, from barefoot fighters defeating tanks to tiny nations crushing giants. This is when the little guy didn't just survive, they dominated. We're told the big guys always win. More soldiers, more money, better tech. It's supposed to be game over, right? But that's not how it's always gone down. Throughout history, a few gutsy groups flipped the script and shocked the world. The real question is how? One Vietnam versus the US superpower. The US had helicopters, napalm, and raw firepower. Vietnamese fighters, they had sandals made from tires and home turf. But it wasn't just about the jungle, it was about patience. Years of hit-and-run tactics, underground tunnels, and never backing down. The world's strongest military, humbled by farmers and students. 2. Ethiopia versus Mussolini's Italy. 1935, Italy had tanks and planes. Ethiopia had swords and spears. But Ethiopians had something else: strategy. They used the mountains, hit supply lines, and even tricked the Italians into walking straight into ambushes. It took every ounce of willpower, but Ethiopia held its ground, one of the only African nations that did. 3. Zulu warriors versus British Empire. Picture this: British soldiers, decked out in red uniforms, marching confidently into Zululand. And then, over 20,000 Zulu warriors surround them, with nothing but spears and shields. At the Battle of Azandawana, the British didn't just lose, they ran. It became one of the biggest upsets in colonial history. 4. Finland versus Soviet Union. The Winter War, 1939. The Soviets had over 400,000 troops. Finland, barely 100,000. But the Finns used the cold like a weapon. They wore white, skied through forests, and picked off tanks using Molotov cocktails. The Soviets took heavy losses and ended up calling a truce. Haiti versus France. The Haitian Revolution wasn't just a rebellion. It was the only successful slave revolt in history against Napoleon's army, one of the best in Europe. Haitians didn't just fight, they outsmarted. Here's what all these stories prove. It's not always about size. It's about knowing your ground, your enemy, and never underestimating the power of belief. These weren't just battles, they were messages to the world. That courage, strategy, and grit, they still matter more than numbers. So next time you hear someone say, "The little guy can't win," just remember, history's full of Davids who wrecked Goliaths. And they didn't need fancy weapons, just guts, brains, and the will to fight back. If you enjoy our journey, please like and subscribe to our channel. And if you like our content and want to support me, you are welcome to buy me a coffee. The link is in the description box below.